Now the scaffolders are due today, so what I'm going to try and do is try and cut the tails off these rafters before they come, and then we can lift the platform of the scaffold up a little bit higher, and makes it a lot easier for me to try and get the soffit done. So I'll spin you around, show where we are if you don't already know, but if you haven't already seen the previous episode where I put the roof on, this is it now for you to have a look at. So I'll spin you around now and we'll have a look where we are, and I'll tell you what we're going to do next. So our plastics delivery has turned up just before I got here. So what the plan now is we're going to put 6-inch vented soffit on to ultimately match that soffit dimension up there, even though it's not vented. It's, if you remember from the loft video, again, if you haven't seen the loft videos, this is the first episode, and there's a good series on there for you to have a look at. We actually used the on the top fascia vents on there instead to vent that little tiny bit of void, which is that one tile there before the tile hang starts. So we just put the fascia vents on there, which sit on top of your fascia. But because we're not retrofitted anything, we're going to go for the old vented soffit, which looks quite nice. Now we are using 6-inch, I've just said. So what I've got to do, I've got to work out a dimension from the brickwork to where it meets the rafter. And at the minute it's looking slightly higher, so it may be that I've got to put a timber on top of the block, on top of the brick, sorry, screw it onto the side of there, and then that'll ultimately give me my plumb cut then, once I've got a dimension of that. So all I normally do, I shall work that out, I shall measure it, I shall put a mark there, put a mark on the far end, put a string line across the top, from that one to make sure they're all nicely in line. Once I've got my marks on the top, I then plumb down all the rafters, and then I cut them all off, and then that gives me my face of the backing, should I say, for the jumbo board, which if you haven't seen jumbo board before, it's the plastic fascia, but it's already 16mm thick, and you use bigger pins with it, so you haven't got to put any backing on your end of your rafters. You can just use it and it will span up to 600, which we've only got 400 centre here. I know we haven't put these ones in yet, and the reasons for that are known in the last video. So we'll set that up and we'll get going. These are all cut off now, and you would have seen on the time lapse that I struggled a little bit with the double, so I've had to cut one side off and then go along with a handsaw. So now that's done, if I come over here, excuse the sniffing, not very nice is it? So I can't really appreciate that really, but what I can say is that's perfectly in line now. So all I've got to do now is get the likes of offcuts like these bits of timber, and these will sit on top of there, like that, and then we'll be, oh hang on, let me come back a little bit, like that. In fact, that'll work actually. Do that, sit on top of my brickwork, come like that, there we are, level that in, fire that to the side, and then that underside there will then become the structure for the soffit. The lads are here to do our scaffold for us, so if you're in our area, sort of West Mids, Harborne, Birmingham, that area, that's the contact number for the company that we use. And just sort of show what we're doing, just a reminder, we're having a scaffold here up to the one course down up there, so we can get to this access over here, and then we're having another scaffold across this whole front so we can get under the roof. And as you can see, they've started the scaffold internally there now to give us access to put all the cut up there as well. So like I say, I'll leave them to it, but all I've been doing in the meantime is cutting my 200mm blocks, 200mm wide, which is ultimately, well, let me turn this radio off, which is ultimately, if I just show you, oh, that was a bit slippy, that block, 200mm now, we'll sit on top of there, I'll sit that flush, nice and level, that's where that'll sit. If we just come back a little bit, that'll sit on there, soffit, or the starter trim will fix the inside of there, and that's where the soffit will sit, and the face will go on and clip onto there like that when that's flush, obviously. So that's it. In true keeping to British weather, Scaffold is finished, rain clouds opened, come down, cats and dogs. Not literally cats and dogs, just rain. So, I'm back next day. Scaffold is up, as you can see above me. So I'm going to do ladder frame first, so I'm getting ready for Adam. Then I shall jump back up and we'll take over from, or we'll start again from where we sort of finished yesterday. What I started to do is put the 200mm blocks, if you remember. I'll cut those ready to go. So we'll do ladder frame over there first, which I shall show you what I'm going to do in a minute. And then we'll start doing that and get the soffit ready, and then we can start gauging for the tiles, and then I can work out, if you remember, where the bottom of my velux is going to be across there. So we'll get onto that. I'm not going to film the ladder frame. I should just get it done because of the dodging the rain clouds, and then I shall show you exactly how I did it. To set out my ladder frame, I'll check either end first with a level off the block work at the bottom, and then drew a line on the wall. I then measured off the end of the bolted wall plate to the line, give me a measurement of 356. I then come over to the bottom and check the same measurement again. I fixed a piece of 9x2 onto the end of another rafter, just so I can try and get the same stand off the wall. What I've done in the past multiple times, I've run that wall plate, oh, big finger, run that wall plate all the way through, but because I want to make sure the crocodile ties or the wall starters come up there, let me zoom back out again, see my fingers, because I want to run the wall ties all that as much as we can. I'll run a 4x2 across the top so we can get up in between the rafters with the wall ties or the wall starters. So that'd be better. So I shall do 5 noggins all the way up at 8x2 and then a 4x2 one across the top. And then what I can do then is I can actually put a bolt, one of these little 3 bolts in then as well to support the top. That's what I'll do. Okay, so I've got that in place. I didn't film that because there was a bit of swearing going on because I was struggling a little bit. But all I've done for now is I've put a couple of screws through there into the wall plate. Yeah, that was me swearing because I missed. That's been screwed onto there now. Wall starters are on and I've rebaited them behind there. I've packed that end up temporarily, which luckily for me is a bit of timber just on the edge of the brickwork is enough to have that in line. Then what I'm going to do, using these Spax M120mm 6s, I think they're classed as now, 5-inch 12s as far as I'm concerned. I shall put these in now into here, and then same on the other side, and then I'll follow up then with the framing nailer on the inside and skew a few nails into the sides as well for some structure, and then that will be lovely and flat. Now what I will do is I shall run Adam's profile across the top of there. And if I have to tap that end up a little bit, then I can. And then Adam will check that anyway as he's bricking it in. So I'll crack on with that now, all the way up. Like I say, it's about 800 centres. And then I'll leave that one in the end for now because where the kneeler's going, I don't want to get in the way there. So I'll let him carry on. Then I can always put another noggin in there at the very end or right across the face there, over the top of the fascia. So anyway, I'll get on with this then. I've just dodged a bit of a shower. Luckily I put my hood up, and by the time I'd got my hood up and put my tools away, it was all stopped, so that was good, and the sun's coming out. Right, let's crack on with this then. Right, I'll just square these over, like that now. Mark on that one, and then I'll put my 126s in that end, all the way up. And that is why it's called a ladder frame. Obvious, isn't it? Screw those in, put the profile across, and if anything, it is very, very slightly, as you can see on there, very, very slightly high, which is the best it can be really. If anything, I'd rather it be higher than lower, but it's, I mean, you can see it's absolutely minimal. It's probably a millimetre maybe, so against a bit of weight on it, that'll drop then anyway, which is awesome. So I'll turn it round, I'll put it on the bottom, and I know this, I'm expecting this to be lower because there's nothing supported at the bottom other than the tension now caused by this trying to pull over. So what I'll probably do is maybe put a bit of a temporary prop in there just to help Ad out off the scaffold now. Put it in, fix the timber in so he can do all his brickwork, and at least if he goes underneath it, we haven't got to worry about trying to pick it back up or push it back down or whatever. So, but that end's perfect. So I'll turn it round, do it this side, and then we'll move on to sorting out all the soffit timbers. This is done then, ready for Ad, and if you look down there, that's just inside the brickwork all the way down. Lovely. Right, let's carry on. Okay, not the most exciting of things for you to watch, so I might stick a bit of a time lapse on and just smash through and then show the end result. What I'm going to do, I'll cut these 8x2 at 200mm wide, which ultimately, when it's sat on the brickwork, it sits below the top of the rafter there like that. So I shall plumb that in to the face of that, and then what that'll determine then, because I know I've cut these square, is the underside will be level then if I plumb it down, because it's plumbed down and then levelled in, so. Simple. I might as well not have put it on time lapse the time it took me, it'd have been just as quick. As expected, the bottom was slightly low, so I've put a timber on there on the bottom, that leg just there, just to hold it up, and I've put that up slightly to match the top one, so again when the weight goes on it's going to settle. What we need to move on to now is, I think before I start doing the soffit, I think what I'll do now is I shall show you how I set out and gauge my tiling, so I can ultimately start getting these finished, and then I can start putting these timbers in as well. That's what we'll do next, I think. What I'm going to go through now is how you set out your first lath that will be on top of your felt. But as you know, I want to set out my timbers first, so I'm doing this without the felt on. Now, the first thing you need to know is what tile you're using. We are using these smooth grey Mendips. So the first measurement you need to take, let me just get somewhere to put this down. First measurement you need to take is what it is from there, which is where that hooks over the top of the lath. I'll show you in a minute, to where the bottom comes. Bearing in mind that when this goes on there, like that, like I say, the lath would go there, and that'd sit on top of the lath, and then you nail it through. What you want to achieve is, when you've got a finished dimension, what you want is, you want to make sure that this point here is centre of your gutter. So there's a couple of measurements I need to know first. First of all, I need to know the thickness of my fascia, which I know is 16mm. I shall check it in a minute, but I'm pretty sure it's 16mm. So that's the dimension I need to take, first of all. And then I know that around 55mm is going to give me centre of my gutter, because against the gutters on like that, my hand's meant to be a gutter, by the way, if you hadn't noticed, and it sits on the bracket. It's about 55mm from the fascia to centre of gutter. All I should do then is, I shall take that measurement from here to the underside of there, and then I shall project out 55mm plus my 16mm, which is 71mm, and deduct that from the dimension from there to the underside of the lath, and then I shall put a mark on, and that's where the top of my first lath will go. Then what you need to do, you need to get a measurement from that first lath that your last lath is going to be, which is about 50mm or so down from this point, about there maybe. That allows you enough space to hook your tile on without the top of the tile catching the wall. About 50mm, I'll measure it anyway. And then we'll do that first, and then I shall move on to the next stage. Okay, so that's from the lug that the tile sits on top of the lath, minus 71mm, which is the 55mm in centre gutter and 16mm thickness of fascia, gives me 324. 324 is now the dimension I've got to take from here to the top of the first lath. I just come into roughly the centre and I put a 324 mark on. And as you can see, it has slightly crept up a little bit. So that tells you that how good your line can be. What could have also caused that is if there's a little bit of a hump in the wall plate and one raft sitting slightly higher, what it can do when you pull your string line is you can bounce your line up or down the rafter a little bit. So all I'll do now is, because I'm happy with that, where it is, because it is sitting the tile on ultimately. I shall drop my lath on temporary now and then show you where we go from there. All I've done then, just as a quick check again, just to make sure I'm flat, is I've used one of Ad's profiles, sat it on the top of there and made sure that we are touching all the way across, which we are. That's in the middle of the lath, so if I wasn't quite right, that wouldn't sit all the way down, would it? Which it is, sitting lovely. All the way across, that's touching. So I know now that that is set nice and parallel. So ultimately, when the tiles go on, I don't get any weird movement in the bottom of my tiles, and you can see it from the bottom. So all I'll do now is I shall set a lath the same way with screws across the top of there, and then I can measure from there up to there, and then that's the next stage of working out where the spacing between the laths are then. Okay, we've now got a lath, and I've got a measurement off the top of that one there to the top of this one, 3,860 to the top of that one, which gives me about sort of 30 mil or so from there. But if you see, it's not quite the same all the way across, but this is now parallel. You're never going to see the line of the top of the tile, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, so now measurement 3,860 from there, top to top. The footage that I did do originally was rubbish, so I've had to redo it. So we're going to go through it all again. So these are the tiles we're using, smooth Mendips, and these go from 12.5 degrees right up to 60. Our roof up there is 17.5 degrees. So that tells me that once you've looked at the spec, which is on the screen now, you can see on there that it gives you the head laps depending on what pitch your roof is. So we're going to go for 100mm head lap. So this is the quickest way I've found to do it. I've marked 100mm up from the bottom, from there to there. Get another tile, sit that on there like that, so now it's 100mm. And then I roughly measure, I don't roughly measure, I measure it properly, from there, from my line to there. Right, that I know that is about 325mm. So now what you do is this. You take your top of lath to top of lath measurement, 3,860, and divide it by 325mm, which is your back of tile measurement, which gives you 11, which is 11 rows. If you now divide 11 into 3,860, that is giving you 350mm, which is too big for head lap. So what I've done then is I've divided 3,860 by 12 for 12 rows, and that gives me 321.6, which is now below our 325mm, giving us 100mm head lap. You now transfer these measurements onto your roof and then gauge your laths out about 321mm. I know it's got the 0.6, but all you can do the last couple of rows, in this instance I'll do it above the velux, I'll just creep those last couple to gain what I think is going to be about 10mm, 11mm. But I can just creep the last couple, maybe 3, just to get that back, and you'll never see the difference. Plus I'll still be within my 100mm head lap anyway, which is great. Okay, after a conversation with the customer, and excuse looking at the floor, I'm trying to stop the wind. We've established where we're going to have the velux. If you just look there, we sort of said about there, but that is 1, 2, 3, that is 4 rows to that point. So we've said actually that would be quite nice, which ultimately inside is going to be about 1.1 metres from the wall plate up to the bottom, about 1.6 down, which is good. So when you walk through there, it looks centre, so that'll look really, really nice now. What I'll do now, I'll pull a string line from here across all 3 of my veluxes, and then I'll come up, because in the specification for the veluxes, or majority, whether it's velux or whether it's facro or whether it's whatever the other ones are, key light I think, generally it's 80mm. Also within that ballpark, from there, from the bottom of your velux to your lath, that's what they want to see. So when you put your bottom flashing on, it doesn't interrupt with the tiles too much. That's all I was done there. I didn't film it because I think I've mentioned it that many times. I thought I'm even boring myself, if I'm honest. And this is why we left it, to gauge these tiles. So what happened now is row of tiles will come to there, and that's 80mm further down. So when I put my window in, I've already got it set, already done. That's it. And then I'll gauge my tile in lath all the way around and around the back. Around the back doesn't matter so much, because I can cut a tile, cut the bottom of a tile, and that's not an issue. Because if any of you that fit veluxes or facros or whatever, at the back of the roof lot, there's always like a bit of a piece anyway that kicks your tile up and holds your tile up right, so that's fine if you cut it. Anyway, right, the next thing I'm going to do now is I shall get a measurement now. You can see on the bench down there I've got pattern from the very first time I started, which ultimately is the cut over there. I've got 2 of those all ready to go, and then this one will be a standard cut like that one. No extra bird's mouth required. So I shall cut these now, get a measurement from there to there, and then I'll get a measurement from there to there, and likewise, and I'll fire all those in. So I'll get those cut, and I'll show you where we are after that. But ultimately what it'll be is it'll just be putting these on then, these 200mm squares on the ends. So 3 of those to go on, and this is all ready for soffit, which will be tomorrow's job now, or next episode, or whatever it needs to be. Lovely. Right, let's crack on. Okay, I've got these cut now, these last rafters for the bottom. All I've got to do now is get a measurement for the top, put my plumb cut on, and measure to the back of that of the velux. So I'll put these on, and then this roof is finished. Well, there we have it, ready for to the brickwork. Veluxes are all set, last rafters put top bottom, all the 200mm blockings in for the soffit, and the ladder frames in. So there we are, finished on a beautiful day as well. The next stage you'll see is us setting out the soffit and fascia, and then in turn the felt and the lath ready for the tiles, and installing the tiles at this point up to the bottom of the velux for now. We will felt all the way over the top to make it watertight, but we'll stop at the velux so we can get the velux in, and then rather than taking the tiles back off, we can leave them off and do the cuts as we go. That may change, it may that we do like we normally do and tile it all and take them off and fit them from inside because it's easiest. But what we are going to have to do, which I've already mentioned in the last episode, or was it the episode before, we'll be obviously messing around with that window now and checking all that brickwork out and sorting that. So I'll just be setting up a bit of a platform for Adam just so we can do that safely. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.